Can I say hello to Del Boy?
Yeah, go on in, pal.
You know, the word legend is thrown around a lot these days, and some people get the moniker and really deserve it. And then there are other people who don't. Ladies and gentlemen, David Jason.
Yes, hello, good morning.
Morning.
Not quite sure about that introduction, but you can be replaced.
Oh, no, don't.
Already he's fired you.
How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. Sorry, who are you?
Yeah, my name is George Clooney.
George. Hello, George.
Good to see you again.
Like your films.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. We are
Fire away.
We are here to talk about this time next year, A Life of Positive Thinking. It is David Jason's book. David Jason has sold over 1 million books.
1 million?
Over a million
Whoa.
books.
Congratulations.
Whoa.
Amazing.
If you
I didn't know that.
They should have told you this.
You know,
Nobody tells me that.
you know, Jill's driving around in a new car. Where do you think that's come
Yeah,
from?
exactly.
It's the paperback, because we talked about
Yeah.
this book before. It's the paperback, David's book, and it's we did all this last time with you.
Yeah.
What a great life and you've had. What great work you've done. What great stories you've got. And I wrote a book years ago, of all the different radio stations I'd worked at. I have got a terrible, terrible memory, and I really have to think hard about when I worked in certain places. Are you the same, or do you remember most of the stuff you've done?
No, I think that I used to have a very, very good memory. But, tempest fugit, as they say. You know,
hello.
Time flies when you're having fun.
He plays at Man City as well, I think.
Does he? Tempest Fugit is a left back.
Very good player. Very good footballer.
Yes, oh, you know him, do you?
Oh, no, very well.
Yes. No, I did, but I made a lot of notes over a bit. I tell you what it was. I had a diary that I kept, and the reason I kept a diary was that in those days, I'm going back quite a long time, I was doing an awful lot of work, radio, commercials and all of that, which is voice work. And so in order to keep tabs on it, I used to put down in a little note, things like... it might be Thursday AM, Chris Moyles Show, BBC or whatever it was, ITV, doesn't matter. And I would make that as a diary. Not that I was wanting to keep a diary. It was like make sure I didn't forget to be at the Chris Moyles studio on Thursday or Friday or whenever it was. So when I was asked to write the books, I found these sort of diary type things, and they kick-started a memory, like it would say be BBC AM for weekending. Yeah. And you'd go, wait a minute, oh, that was the day that, yes, oh, who was it? It was, and so
and it
that gives you,
nice.
And then you go, oh, I remember that one, because I had to do the voice of, the Prime Minister at the time. So it was a very useful tool.
It's nice, though, isn't it? It's nice to putting yourself back in that time, because it does. The more you think about it, the more you remember. Yeah. And I don't know if I said this before. I was writing my book. I was on holiday, and I had to finish this book. So I'm sat with the laptop in the shade on holiday, and I was writing about when I was 18. I went to live in Luxembourg and work for Radio Luxembourg. So I'm remembering everything that I did, and I was just typing so fast it would I wasn't finishing words because I just wanted to get it out of my head before I forgot. And then I would write it properly, and then I would check it all. And I remember reading it and then lifting my head up, and I went, oh my God, I'm on holiday, because I'd forgot. For that 40 minutes I was away with the fairies, I was back in Luxembourg. I could see the streets. I could feel it, you know. So it must be a lovely thing to do, to go back to all those memories of all the good work you've done.
Well, a lot of it, thank you. Yeah, there is quite a lot of it that it is good and enjoyable.
Oh, it's legendary stuff. Yeah.
Well, some
which
of it,
is still on television now, isn't it? A lot of it's still on television today.
Yeah, I think you could put that down to the writers or the writing mainly, because it crosses the barrier of age. And a lot of shows that we did, going back, the various shows that you can think of and artists, they fade from people's memory, or the producers and the people who put shows on the television say, well, it's not getting a good audience, we'll take it off. Yeah. But fortunately, and touch wood here, that the biggest one that we can name is Fools and Horses. And that is basically, I think, because of the standard of writing. And one of the things that I would quickly try and remind people of, that it does not rely, and never did, on what they call it today, modern language, which is full of swearing, or a lot of swearing.
Yeah.
Well, there's still a huge amount of people out there who get quite offended by how much swearing there is. But in particularly Fools and Horses, it was all story orientated around. And, of course, it was not relying upon how many swear words you can get in 5 minutes. So the story was the most important thing. And also you could sit there with your youngest 2 months old child and 25-year-old child, if you like, and be confident that you won't be offended.
Yeah.
Now, one of that, I think, is the main reason for its longevity.
Yeah.
So it was a joy to know that it's gone through generations and basically entertained people, and that's what my job has always been.
Only Fools and Horses is obviously it's a classic show. It's brilliant. It was brilliant then. It was brilliant now. But also it's got this lovely thing, I think, where I watched that when it was on telly, and I'd have been younger. I'd have watched it with my mum and dad. But I wasn't watching a mum and dad show. No. It wasn't an older person's show. Now, for me, it was my show. I enjoyed it. My dad watched it. It was his show. Yes. My mum watched it. It was her show. Yeah. And there's not a lot of those around. It was a family show, but it wasn't a family show. It didn't feel like you were watching, some old shtick. And I think that, again, with John Sullivan's writing. Yes. And then, and to be fair, all the great actors who were in it, because there's a fine body of people in there. It just put it all together and it just worked. Sometimes you put the elements together, might not work.
No.
But that worked a treat.
Well,
go on.
Sorry, I was just going to say, yes. one of the shows that we did, just to reflect your point, that not all of the magic ingredients all put together guarantees a success. Because what happened was John Sullivan and I, I was helped to encourage John Sullivan to write a show that we did together, 6 episodes, called Micawber. And it was based on Charles Dickens' character of Micawber.
Right.
And we did 6 episodes of this, and I played the character Micawber, written by John Sullivan.
Right.
I was in the leading role. We had a lovely cast. But what happened was it didn't take off. Now, you could put all the elements together and put them all together and say, well, we're guaranteed here, we got a success. But what happened was 2 things, and they're all part of the ingredients that helped to make a success. One was that you had the writer, which was John Sullivan, mainly. Then you had me, who had been in the success of Fools and Horses. And then you had a good cast. But the third element that it relied on, and where it was, I daren't say ruined, but it did not help to get it off the ground, was that the guy who was in charge of placing the programs at that time, instead of allowing it to find its audience and say, let's just say 7 o'clock on a Sunday evening, just say, and you could leave it at 7 o'clock Sunday evening. So the during the course of its run, every Sunday evening, people on the Monday would go into work and they'd say, "Did you see that show last night?"
Correct.
You'd say, "No, what was it?" "Oh, I saw it. It was pretty good, actually."
Yeah.
"What was it called?" And let's say it was McCall, but they'd say, "Oh, what time did that go out?" "On a Sunday night." "Oh, I'll make a note of that." And that was the old-fashioned way of getting your audience gathered, because people, it was called around the water bottle, I
Yes,
think.
around the water cooler,
Cooler.
water cooler moment.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
That's what it was.
Yeah.
And he didn't. What he did was he tried to use me and Sullivan, putting those two together and moving the show around in order to chase the audience. In other words, if I put that on a Thursday at 6:30 or 8 o'clock, we'll get the people away from BBC, whatever, and they want to. Well, that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
And he should have known that. And I'm not saying that was the only reason, but you need everybody together on the same page to encourage the success of a show.
Repetition makes reputation. It has to be Sunday night at 7 o'clock is the time for that show. And if you, Richard Herring, who's a great comedian, would say the reason they moved it around the schedule was to give all the other shows a chance. That's what it was.
Oh, I like that. That's the best one. Yes, I like that.
Have you ever made anything and whilst filming it, you've thought, this is rubbish. This is rubbish. This is rubbish.
Yeah, but I can't tell you what.
Okay, fair enough. That'll do. I'll still take it.
Yeah.
Next time you come in, I'll get it out.
All right, okay. But one thing I will say, that when I was offered the part in Darling Buds of May,
great.
I read the book and I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the book. But I phoned up my agent and said, "You know this Darling Buds of May, when do they want to do it?" And she told me whatever, and who's in it and whatever. And then she said, "Well, what do you think? Do you want to do it?" I said, "Well, I just read the book. And it's either going to be a great big success or a total failure."
Yeah.
So she said, "Why is that?" And I said, "Because nothing happened." Nothing happened.
Yeah.
There was no story. It was just every time, the whole book was just, anyway, it's
you were in a
Sunday night.
setting, weren't
And
you?
right, we'll have, what are you giving us for dinner, Ma? And it's all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
But what I didn't realise is that is exactly what the audience needed at that time.
It was real escapism, wasn't
Exactly.
it? It really was, yeah.
There are some shows that just work. Have you ever seen the show Gone Fishing with Paul Whitehouse and Bob Morton?
Yes, I have. Yeah.
Now, in this day and age, how that show got commissioned is a miracle, because it's two blokes fishing and then they go and have something to eat and then they go fishing again and then they go home. There's virtually little in it. There's not a lot of dialogue, and it is like a warm blanket, that show.
It's lovely,
It's lovely to watch.
Yeah.
And he doesn't even catch any fish.
Half the time, no.
Often he doesn't.
You're right.
All these, loads of stories, by the way, in the book. We're talking to David Jason. His book is this time next year. It's now out in paperback.
Yeah.
When you, I want to ask you this. When you're filming a character, any of the famous work that you've done, can you get into character very quickly, or do you have to get into Del Boy or Pa Larkin or something? Do you have to go through a process, or do you just go and put the voice on?
Do you know that that's quite an interesting question, because I can put on the costume and I'm in the character,
Right.
virtually. In other words, I don't think about it too much. It gives me 5 or 10 minutes to to start getting in there.
I saw the neck go in there.
You know what I mean?
absolutely.
And a lot of that is the bravado, is the character that I based it on. Well, the point of that story is that all of my characters that I've played, Pa Larkin, Del Boy and any of the others, is basically putting on the coat and you put on the character.
Yes.
Now, it works for me. One of the things that irritates me greatly is when I read or hear stories about some actors who have to be quiet. Don't talk to me. Stay there. I want to be on my own. Why is that? So I've got to get into character. And I need this morning to get into my character. And I think, do me a favour. and that irritates me because you're lifting yourself above everyone else that is part of the team.
Right.
It's like you here... You are part of the team. You may be the head of the team.
Star of the show, yeah.
Yeah. Sorry.
That's it. That's it.
Shall I ask that question again?
I think we all know.
Yes. You are the star
Thank you.
of the show.
Oh, there's no need to say that, David. That's not what I think.
No. Okay. God, he's a pain, isn't he?
Isn't he, though? Isn't he, though?
So, but the point of that is that I've always thought of myself as part of the team, the head of the team, say. But the ones that irritate me beyond is they put themselves on this strange area that they call they're getting into character, don't talk to them, and all sorts of reasons that they give. And that, it just thinks, why are you behaving in such a way? Because if you're a good actor, you're able to put on the costume, and as you put on the costume, you're putting on the character that you've invented, if you see what I mean.
I like it.
So that is the way that I've always dealt with it, and I've enjoyed it. I always do enjoy it.
Do you know, I love it. I could talk to you all day.
Well, why not?
Because
we could send these people home and, could have the day off.
I'll come round for dinner and then I'll just sit there and you can just tell me the stories. I love it. I'll talk to you all night.
You're on.
I also love, by the way, and do you know the joy that even just about a minute and a half ago, when you're talking about getting into character and you put the costume on, you started moving your shoulders and your neck like Del Boy, and immediately Dominic and I started smiling.
Yeah.
The joy and I know you've done loads of the work, and you know I love Danger Mouse.
Yes.
But the joy that Del Boy brings, and all you have to do is, it was the voice when you did it before you came to see us. You just moved your shoulders and me and him got giddy.
It's like flexing a muscle, isn't it? And then you're into it straight away. It's great.
It is.
It's brilliant.
Can I say hello to Del Boy?
Yeah, go on in, pal.
Even that is just amazing.
I much prefer to say hello to the charming young lady over there.
Hello, Del Boy.
Yes, bonnet de douche, my dear, bonnet de douche.
Orange too.
You're getting chatted up by Del Boy. This is lovely.
Oh, that's wonderful. Listen,
Wow.
the book is this time next year. It's David Jason's book. It's got so many lovely stories in there. It's in paperback now, so no excuse to buy it because Jill wants Tenerife for Christmas. So if you can buy as many copies as you can.
I agree.
That would be great. Always a pleasure.
Thank you.
Always
Thank
a
you.
pleasure.
Lovely to see you again.
Pleasure. Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. David Jason.
Thank you. Yes.
Radio